So I want to talk to you about something that took me a lot of time and a lot of practice to really get. And it's this. When I was trying to meet somebody, all the dating advice seemed to say, on dates, be yourself. And then there would be a list as long as my arm about all the things you should do on a date and all the things you shouldn't do on a date. Are you like me? Are you left thinking, well, hang on a minute, am I supposed to be myself or not? So after going on a lot of dates, after going from being really, really bad at this to eventually learning how to behave on a date to make me so attractive to men, I want to clarify this issue for you if it's something you're struggling with like I did. So what I would say is yes, you should 100% be your authentic self in all your interactions with a man. So if you're doing online dating, that's right from your profile to the messages you exchange, to your first dates, to your wedding day. And why is this? Well, first of all, us humans are completely attuned to when somebody isn't being their authentic self. Actually, it makes us kind of wrinkle up our noses and want to take a step back away from them. And equally, when we deep down sense that somebody really is being their authentic self, it makes them so irresistibly attractive to us. There is nobody you can pretend to be that is more attractive than your real self. And the second thing is, for a relationship to be truly happy long term, you need two people who really like and love each other for who they really are. And that's one of the things, that I really love in my relationship with my partner, Rich. Sometimes I can be chatting away about something, waffling on, thinking, oh God, I hope I'm not boring the pants off him. And then I'll realise he's got this big smile on his face. And so I'll stop and I'll be like, oh, why are you so happy? He's just, oh, I just love it when you're talking about something you love and something you care about. I love you so much. Oh, it makes me feel so happy. It makes me feel so loved and so liked for who I really am. And I'm sure that that's what you're looking for. If you want to find a relationship with somebody that really likes you and really loves you for who you really are, you have to show them that person right from the first date. But, and there is a but, you're an intelligent woman, you already worked that out. I used to think that being yourself meant that I could act in any way on a date in those early stages of dating and that it would still go well. And that really is not the case. I used to confuse be yourself with let it all hang out and do anything. And it really isn't the same. So when I'm talking to women now, what I say is be yourself, but put your best foot forward. So what does that actually mean in terms of what you should do on a date? And much more importantly, what you shouldn't do on a date. Because there are two big no-nos in early dating. In early dating, I'm talking about dates 1 to 3. Two big no-nos. Number 1, negativity. And number 2, oversharing. I'm going to talk about both of those, but let's start with negativity. So I used to think, well, if I've had a bad day at work, or I'm not getting on very well at work with my boss, or I've had a tiff with my sister, why shouldn't I talk about that on a date? I don't want to lie, and I don't want you to lie either. But choosing to focus on something else, choosing to focus on something more positive in your life is not lying. It doesn't mean you're not being your authentic self. It just means you're choosing to focus on something positive. And sometimes, I used to justify it to myself. I'd say, oh, but what if he asks about my job? I don't want to lie to him. You have to remember, though, this person is not your friend. They don't know how much fun you are on a night out. They don't know that you're a really positive, happy, lovely person. All they can see is somebody who's moaned for half an hour about their job. So what do you do then? If it comes up on a date and somebody says, oh, tell me about your job, how's it going? And of course you don't want to lie. I'm not in any way suggesting you should, if you're not getting on with your boss, you've got a new boss that you don't really like, of course you shouldn't say, oh, I love my job, I feel so lucky to be doing it. So what do you say instead? So I would suggest something like, oh yeah, work isn't my favourite topic at the moment, but I'm just really focusing on having loads of fun outside of work. In fact, I've joined this amazing new running club and it's making me feel so excited. We did such a hard run on Sunday. We were up you get the idea. Tell him all about the Lickey Hills trip with the running club. So you can see there, you've been totally and utterly honest. You've dealt with the subject in a light, happy way, and then you've moved on and focused on something that really is so positive and wonderful. Because sometimes as women, we can worry so much about what makes us attractive to men, about our weight, about our wrinkles and our hair, everything. And sometimes we miss the thing that makes us the most attractive. And that's the ability to be happy. And on that day, it could be that a man even wants to double back and delve into what your issues are at work. And again, it's not an excuse to kind of rant on for another half an hour about how much you hate something. Don't do it. What I'd again suggest is you just, share a couple of lines very quickly and then move the conversation on. So maybe something like, oh yeah, we've just got a new boss and you know how it is, teething problems. I will, I'll have to leave if it doesn't improve, but I'm sure it'll be fine. But that's the last thing on my mind tonight. I'm feeling so relaxed and so happy. And you see there, you've moved the conversation on to something really positive. You've kept that wonderful, positive, happy tone. It's going to make a really big difference to how men see you. And it's going to make a real difference to your success in dating. And, you can see what I mean. I'm not saying to lie or to pretend or anything of the sort. I'm just saying find the happy, positive parts of yourself and your life. And just in these beginning stages, focus on sharing that. What I would say is if you're kind of thinking, well, actually, I don't think I can do that. If you don't think that you can be fully positive for just a couple of hours on the first few dates, then maybe you're just not in the right frame of mind for dating at this moment in time. So it might be worth just putting that on pause. And that doesn't mean in any way that your life has to be perfect to be dating. I know a lot of women who've met their perfect partner, but they've been having a really challenging time in their lives. It's just that if you can't find a way to be positive, if you're feeling so negative about life, if you can't find a way to be positive for just a couple of hours on a date, it's probably not the right time for you. But for most women, that's not the case at all. They've just misinterpreted what be yourself means in the context of early dating. And I have got a little suggestion for you. If you've had a really bad day at work, or you've just had an argument with your sister and you're about to go on a date, so you're not feeling 100% great, just spend 10 or 15 minutes just before you set out doing something that makes you really, really happy. So whether it's dancing around the kitchen to some music, or FaceTiming your cute little niece, or just meditating quietly by yourself for a little while, do something that makes you get happy, get yourself in a positive state of mind, and then set off on your date. It's so much more important than any lipstick you could apply or getting your hair just right. So just take that time and you're going to have so much better date. And now I want to talk to you about oversharing. Because again, that's something that I did in the name of being yourself, or maybe with the excuse of being myself. I used to say things like, oh, I just want to be open about who I am. And of course you should be. But you must remember, this person doesn't know you and you don't know them. So you have to use some judgment. I'm not saying don't talk about something that's important to you, even if it's serious, but do use some judgment. So I'm going to give you an example of that. On a first date, absolutely great to talk about how much you love animals and about how your long-term dream is setting up an animal sanctuary in Greece, for example. That might be one of mine. But it's probably less good to talk about how your elderly cat's dying and it makes you cry every time you think about it. And you might be thinking, well, who would mind that, Narina? And nobody is the answer, really. But it's just a bit overwhelming on a first date. It changes the tone to something far too dark. And of course, as you get to know somebody, in a very short time, you're going to want to share both the light and the dark in your life and in yourself. But share the light first. It isn't just moths that are attracted to light, it's us humans. And sometimes I think women, I used to do this, I would almost invent a relationship in my head. So I'd be on a date with somebody, like say a second or third date, it'd been going really well, really like them. And I would find myself talking to that man as if he was my long-term partner, which he really wasn't. And if you've ever found yourself doing that on a date, it really isn't a good thing. Because you have to remember that man does not know you. All he's going to see is a woman that can't avoid talking about her problems and issues during just a 1 or 2 hour date. All he's going to remember, all he's going to see are the problems, the issues. He doesn't know you. He doesn't know about the good stuff. And don't forget, I'm only talking about dates 1 to 3 here. In fact, sharing yourself slowly and appropriately at the right point in dating is something that is so powerful and so magnetic to men. And actually, that's the other problem with oversharing really early on in dating. You are robbing yourself of the opportunity to draw a man towards you a little bit later on by sharing who you are in the right way at the right time. So I hope that's been really, really helpful to you. If any of you are going on a date tonight or at some point this week, have a fantastic time, because that is the one thing that I think it's really important to do on all dates, and that's have fun. So enjoy. And if you're struggling to find love, come and watch my free masterclass. Just click on the link below and come and watch now. It's going to help you so much.